But what you do have to do is make sure that you put belly chains on this. I put it in 2 different spots here, so I put one towards the front and one towards the rear. And with this one, it doesn't really matter about putting your belly chains on opposing sides, like one binder on this side and then another binder on the passenger side over there. With this, it doesn't really matter. What's up, guys? You're that trucker here, back with another video. And today is off to a very slow start, or I should say this week rather is off to a very slow start. I'm at a consignee right now. You guys can see I delivered right there this morning. It is currently this afternoon. And I've been sitting here all day. I mean, first thing, this consignee, they have on-site parking. Give you guys a backstory on how all of this came to be. I got dispatched on this load last week on Friday. There was a lot I took home for the weekend. I checked out the delivery location on Google Maps and on Google Earth, like I always do for all of my deliveries beforehand. That's part of proper trip planning, so you know where you're going. Interrupted by that. But when I was looking on my load plan, it says that the consignee has parking available. I look at the same address on Google Maps and I'm seeing what to my eye looks like a gate on the consignee's property. Now that poses an issue because I'm thinking if there's a gate there, then that means most likely at some point in time that gate is going to be locked. And I don't want to show up on Friday, or on Sunday rather, and have my intended parking area closed off to me, because it's just an open road coming in here. And I'll show you the gate that I was looking at. Right there is the gate. You can see the 2 gate sides, and that right there is just the road. It's not a super busy road, but it's only a 2-lane road, so it's not like there's an open space for you to just park along the side, you know, in a designated area for trucks that are working or waiting. Because actually, I came in off the street on the opposite side of their warehouse, so this is the exit over here. So I hit up my fleet manager. I'm like, hey, load plan says that there is on-site parking, but it looks like there's a gate. My fleet manager sends me the phone number for this place, and I call them. I'm checking, I'm like, my information says you guys have on-site parking, but it looks like you have a gate. If I show up on Sunday night to park up, you know, so I can get unloaded first thing in the morning, is that something that's possible? And the person that I spoke to, she was like, I would probably plan on parking somewhere else. So keep that in mind, guys. Do your pre-planning, be thorough, because if I just taken that information and showed up here, I would have been in a very bad predicament. Because first off, this place was like 10.5 hours away from where I was parked. So if I had showed up on Sunday, I would have no time left to go anywhere else. I'd have been screwed. I found somewhere else to park, you know, aside from those details. I didn't show up here. I drove a little bit farther than this place to go park up for Sunday night, which was fine. I found a spot about 10 miles away. But that's not the issue. That was the first hurdle that I got over. You know, I sorted that out on Friday when I made my call. But I got here at 9 a.m. well, about 8:45, because this place unfortunately didn't begin unloading until 9 a.m. That was on my load notes, which, you know, I wasn't a fan of that. You know, I'm always interested in getting unloaded as quickly as possible so I can move on and get my next pickup and get my day going still. But I got here and there was nowhere for me to set up to get unloaded. They don't let you unload inside of the facility there. I had to unload on the open street out there. Now on the other side, it's a 4-lane, you know, 2 lanes going outgoing, 2 lanes incoming traffic. that I had to sit as close to the sidewalk as I could and unload. And I guess that's just what they do here, because the police drove by while I was unloading next to the shoulder, and they didn't even care. So I guess that's just normal over here. But I didn't really like that. I had a tarp on this load. It was like some steel. But dealt with that, and this place was not very quick with unloading. Like I said, I got here about 8:50, and I was not done unloading or getting unloaded until 11 a.m. So there's that. And then after that, the part that is the worst part so far is that I don't have a load. Now, we're still in the I guess still the industry is still having the issue where, you know, the loads and the freight rates are not the best right now in 2023, and it's been slow out here. The past few days, you know, it's taken longer than the average amount of time for me to get dispatched on new loads. It's about 2:45 p.m. right now, and like I said, I got unloaded at 11, sent in my empty a little bit before that, and I don't have a load, and it doesn't look like I'm gonna get one because it's almost 3 o'clock. More likely than not, I'm gonna get a pre-plan. I already, my fleet manager, I asked him, what's the deal? What should I be expecting? But you know, for this area, I think it's slow in general. Just this whole vicinity where I am. I'm in Arkansas right now, and I don't really know a whole lot of places to pick up around this particular area. For some of the shippers that I'm familiar with, I think the closest one to me is like 3 hours away, actually. And I can double check on that. Yeah, the closest shipper to where I currently am is out in Cumberland City, Tennessee, and that's like 3 hours away. And TMC might have, or they probably have, some shippers, you know, in the general vicinity that I'm just not aware of. But for the places that I go to regularly, that's like the closest one. Yeah, the week's not off to a good start with that being in mind. You know, starting off on Monday without a load. The load that I delivered today paid pretty well, but I'm basically going to be a load down just because I'm not picking anything up today. I'm hoping that the pre-plan that I get is going to be something that can, you know, offset me not having a load at all, but that means the revenue is going to be down just because of missing out on today. But that's just something you got to be prepared to deal with as a trucker. This is actually the first time that I've had to sit for this long and not have a load, just because of whatever reason, you know. But it's whatever. I'll give you guys some content to watch, and just like I said in other videos, I do this stuff so you guys can see the reality of trucking. This is one of those days, like I've told you guys before, where, you know, sometimes things don't go according to plan, or they don't end in a way that you're happy with. You know, and you have to be ready for that. You know, on the positive side, I get to go to a truck stop. It's actually going to be the same truck stop that I parked at last night when I was parking up. It's actually, it's in Arkansas. I told you guys earlier that I was in Arkansas. I'm not. I'm in Tennessee. I'm in Tennessee right now, but I'm going across the state line 10 minutes away to the truck stop that I parked at last night. We should have zero problems finding a parking space since it's like 3 p.m. right now, and our clock's gonna refresh really early tomorrow morning, and we'll be able to get a jump on picking up tomorrow's load, since we should be first on the load board, I would assume. We're pretty high up on it just because we got unloaded and empty so early today. But man, we need some money, man. We need some money, because we're not out here to just sit around and see the sights without having money go in our pockets, even for a day. You know, I'm pretty aggressive when it comes to finances, so I don't want to be missing out on any money whatsoever. But I'm gonna go ahead and head to this truck stop, guys. We'll pick things up tomorrow, and hopefully we will be on a better note with a high-paying load to get our Tuesday started. Time to bounce. All right, guys, an update. Things changed a bit real quick. As soon as I got here to this truck stop, as you can see, I'm here at a Pilot right now. It's about 4 o'clock. and plenty of spaces. But as soon as I got here, my fleet manager sent me a load to pick up. It's about three hours, a little bit less than 3 hours north in Kentucky for me to pick up. It's a load that's going to be delivering on Wednesday, and my appointment time is for 7 p.m. If I leave right now, it'll be about that time when I get there. So at first I was thinking I was going to be sitting here going to sleep early, you know, or chilling out for the day, which, you know, it was going to be what it was on that. But we've got a load to pick up, so we need to do that. Now the thing about that is I'm going to be under the gun now, because I was sitting at the previous consignee longer than 2 hours, so my split log already started. I had to restart the clock driving over here to this truck stop, so that means I've got to drive and get that load picked up, secured, and back on the road as soon as I can, so that I can drive somewhere and get a parking space for tonight. Which right now at this point in time, I have 10.5 hours of drive time on my clock, and I have 11 hours 47 minutes of duty time. So that's plenty of time for me to go ahead and go up there and pick that load up and still have some time on my clock to find somewhere to park for the night. Not too much pressure. I would love to get this load delivered tomorrow. The consignee in Illinois stops receiving at 2:30, so I don't know if I'll be able to pick up and get a 10-hour break in and drive the rest of the way. It's all going to be depending on where I park for the night and when I leave tomorrow morning. Really, all that stuff I can't really say for sure how much time I'm going to have until I actually get to the consignee and get finished securing. So I'm hoping that since I'm picking up later on in this evening, there won't be any other drivers there picking up, so I can hurry and get loaded and secured, because I don't have to tarp this load. Picking up some wire mesh from what it says, but wire mesh can come in a lot of different forms. It can be in the flat fencing, you know, it can be rolled up into spools basically, and you know, there's a lot of different ways it can be set up, so I won't know until I actually get it. But I'm gonna go ahead and get on the road, guys, because my clock will not be freezing for me again, even if I'm sitting for longer than 2 hours in a sleeper berth, you know, later on today, since I already started the split log one time. So let's go ahead and drive these 2 hours 45 minutes and get this load picked up. I guess it's better than having no load for the day at all, like I originally thought was going to be the case. So let's go. Okay guys, we made it to the shipper, but unfortunately we weren't able to make it here in time. They stopped loading at 7 p.m. and we ran into some construction delay on the way here and got here at 7:40, and as you guys can see, it is pitch black out here. Get some light, and that's all we got right here. It's nighttime, evening time rather, but with daylight savings, it gets dark early. This place that we're picking up from is in the middle of nowhere here in Kentucky. We'll be the first guy to get loaded in the morning, and the drive to the consignee is about 7.5 hours. So with a full clock, we'll be able to make it. I don't know exactly what I'm going to be getting loaded out of here, because there are slinky coils here. Well, that's all I can see right now, but the load says wire mesh, so it doesn't always mean you're actually getting the fencing when you have that listing when you come to a place like this. So we'll find out in the morning. I think this place opens back up at 7 a.m. if I'm not mistaken, 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. So we will get loaded early in the morning, get ourselves on the road and get parked up tomorrow, because the consignee for this load does have on-site parking. So we'll be able to deliver on Wednesday, get ourselves there sometime tomorrow afternoon, get rid of this load. I'm gonna go ahead and chill out for the rest of the evening here, go to bed, and I'll see you guys in the morning. All right guys, just found something out with this one that I didn't notice before, is that this is actually a 2-stop pickup. So we're picking up here in Where are we? Hickman, Kentucky. And we're not delivering. I almost messed up. We're picking up here in Kentucky, and we're picking up the second portion of this load up in Rock Island, Illinois, which is 7.5 hours away. And then the delivery location after that is about 2 hours and some change away from the second pickup location. Now that adjusts things quite a bit, because I was thinking that I was going to pick this up and deliver it to the Rock Hill or Rock Island location. But I scrolled down, I saw something look funny. I was looking at my my TMC app there, and I guess I didn't pay attention to it enough the first time. And I noticed that the spot that I thought was a delivery location, actually it said like pickup right above it, right like next to the spot that I was looking at before. But that's why I always say you guys got to make sure that you're reading, and making sure that you are fully paying attention. Like this time it didn't mess anything up because I can't get loaded until tomorrow morning anyway. And I was just reviewing my notes, checking to see like if the place had parking or any like particular things I need to be paying attention to, like the local directions that they give you on the app there. But yep, so it's a 2-stage pickup, so altogether it's gonna be like a 9.5 hour drive. But the thing is, I don't know if I'll be able to get to the second pickup area in time tomorrow before they close, because it's saying that they load until 2:30. Now right now, as far as I know, this consignee begins unloading, or not unloading, but loading at 7 a.m. So even if I left right at 7 a.m., I wouldn't be arriving until I wouldn't be arriving at the second pickup location until right around 2:30. That's like assuming I don't stop for any breaks. If I left right at 7 a.m., which is not going to happen because I still have to take the time to get loaded and secured. So we'll be able to drive up to the second pickup location and park there, I'm pretty sure. But whether or not we're going to get loaded tomorrow is unknown. But this load is not due for delivery until Wednesday. I mean, we'll definitely be able to get to the delivery location on Wednesday. But I was hoping I would not have to wait until Wednesday morning to get loaded with that secondary portion of this load, just because of that. And you know, that wouldn't have been a problem if I had been able to get here and get loaded tonight. I would have been able to like chop off like a few of those hours and drive the rest of the way and easily get picked up at the secondary location tomorrow. You know, it's out of my control. We'll make the adjustments that we need to tomorrow. You know, the fleet manager sees the plan and how my time is going to be looking. You know, I'll let him know I may or may not make it, and they'll make the proper adjustments in the system if they got to. But now I'm gonna get something to eat, then I'm going to bed, because we're gonna have a long drive tomorrow morning, all day pretty much. What's up, guys? It's the next morning and we already got loaded. I secured everything just because I wanted to go ahead and get this show on the road, since I'm a little bit further behind than I wanted to be, since we couldn't get loaded last night. But we did end up getting the wire mesh, and I went ahead and secured everything already. We're all set to get on the road and run, but I'll show you guys how I did it. And with this, let me preface it with saying, with wire mesh, you have to be very, very careful with your securement, because the way that they load this material, it can very easily shift on you. So you want to make sure that you are taking all the necessary precautions when securing this stuff. So first off, there's no forward movement protection on this. I checked ahead of time with the safety department, and they said you don't really need to put any forward movement protection on this, or you can't really, because of the way that it's set up. If you see all of these prongs from the mesh, there's nowhere for your forward movement protection, your X straps to hang on without risking being punctured. It's just not possible with the way this is set up. You can't X-chain it either because the load is too tall. Your chains won't reach from the bottom end of the trailer up and around and down to another part of the trailer to hold it back. So you just can't really do it on this one. But what you do have to do is make sure that you put belly chains on this. I put it in 2 different spots here. So I put one towards the front and one towards the rear. And with this one, it doesn't really matter about putting your belly chains on opposing sides, like one binder on this side and then another binder on the passenger side over there. With this, it doesn't really matter. So I just went ahead and put them both on the same side, but I just alternated on the stacks instead. So you see I have the binders on the front stack, but on the middle stack the binders are on the passenger side, so that way I have that opposing pull to keep everything balanced. But you want to do that, and you can't really put your binders bone crushingly tight where you take every last bit of slack out of your chain. I mean, this chain is tight, there's no wheel room in it, but just since these wires are so not soft, but they're not thick, they're not strong, so they'll bend if you keep on winching it down, like to make it super duper bone crushingly tight, and it'll take away the resistance of like that the chains are providing by holding it down. So you want to get it snug and get a few clicks past snug to where the chain's not giving way anymore. And then you want to go ahead and throw your 4-inch straps over the top. Now you might not be able to see it. Well, you kind of can, yeah, actually. Make sure you put your edge protectors up there. I always put edge protectors down when I'm using metal, and you have to be especially cautious with this, like I said, because you see these prongs right here. And if your strap is pushed up against one of these, and when you tighten it down, it'll tear your straps or it'll put punctures in it, and you'll have to throw the strap away when you're done with the load because the structural integrity of your strap is going to be compromised. So I put edge protectors on every one of these straps because, you know, along the side of this load, there's nothing you can really do to stop the straps from being punctured aside from trying to throw your straps in between where the prongs are. And even in some spots, you're not going to be able to avoid it. But at the very top, I want to make 100% sure, like at the top, the pressure points where the straps are pulling down, that there is no punctures, no tears up there. So I put the edge protectors up there to protect the strap from that happening. And I did that on all of the straps that are up on top over the load. And something else, let me show you. You want to take away the slack of your chain. You always want to have your chain binder going to a chain tie down is preferable if you can do it, versus having the chain connect and then putting your binder somewhere in the middle of the chain. You want to do the chain binder to a chain tie down. This is the most secure way to do it. So I took the excess chain, wrapped it up with a bungee, wrapped it around this lever here, and I pulled it back, attached it to the trailer. That way it's not freely swinging and blowing in the wind as I'm driving down the road. And I put a twist in the strap just because it's so tall, so that way it's not vibrating in the wind and possibly loosening up the straps. Now with this, you still want to do more than enough load checks, because as secure as this may be, it is still liable to move on you. So you want to make sure you're checking every time you stop and tightening it down if you need to, both the chains and your straps if they're loose. And it's pretty much the same thing all the way down. Now except for this bundle here, you see the first 2 bundles, they have chains, belly chains on them. I was not able to do belly chains on this stack because this stack is one huge bundle. If you can see this band is wrapping this entire huge stack. So they brought this all over as one piece, versus these over here, they brought them off in halves. So the first half right there, and then the second half right here. So I was able to belly chain that, but not possible here. So to make up for that, I just threw additional straps on it. I have 5 straps on this stack here versus the 3 straps that I have on the front 2 stacks. That way I have more securement to make up for the chains that are not there. And the rear doesn't need any securement, no X strap on the rear or anything, of course. And this is just a look at the passenger side so you guys can see the 360 of it. Same thing with tying the lever and the excess chain up, tying it to the trailer to hold it, keep it from blowing in the wind. And it's as simple as that, guys. But like I said, the main thing with this stuff is making sure that you are doing frequent load checks to make sure that freight is not moving. And you know, your first load check within the first 50 miles or an hour, and then another load check every 150 miles or 3 hours. But with this stuff, I check it, you know, like a couple additional times between that, so just to make sure that it's not moving, and making sure that you're looking in your side view mirrors, making sure those straps aren't vibrating or moving around, making sure everything's staying put where it's supposed to. But we have 2 stops to get rid of this stuff. First one's 7.5 hours away, and then the other one is about 2 hours away from that. And we're not going to get there today, which is fine because this load's not scheduled to deliver until tomorrow anyway. All right, we'll be able to get parked up at the first consignee, get unloaded there in the morning, and then drive a couple hours to go deliver the rest of the freight, and we should be good. But let's go ahead and get on the road now. It's about 10 o'clock, I think, so we'll probably take a 30-minute break along the way there, and then we'll be set for the rest of the day. Let's go ahead and go. All right, guys, what's up? It's next morning, and we're getting unloaded with the first portion of this load, and I'll show you guys something. One of the reasons why I do not like getting wire mesh loads is because it's very rough on your equipment. Look, there's a puncture right there, and I found some punctures in some of the other straps, like a couple right there. And let me show you the worst one of all so far that I found. Let me go off somewhere here because I want to be out of the way of the unload process. Always want to be safe at all times, guys. Right here, one of the straps that I took off of the portion that they're unloading right now, it's got annihilated. This got annihilated by those prongs. Now this strap is no longer viable. I will not use this on another load. This is gonna have to get trashed and replaced. But that's one of the hazards of these wire mesh loads. They tear your straps up, and there's like nothing you can do about it. That's why I put those edge protectors on the top of it, like I said, because this exact reason. Those prongs will tear your straps to shreds if there's any tension put on them. This one, a lot of this looks like it got done by when the strap was coming down off the load. This is definitely a puncture. So like a puncture, and then when I was trying to pull the strap down, and there's nothing you can do because you can't climb up on top of the load to unsecure like a strap that's stuck like in the midpoint. But yeah, and that's also another reason why I carry extra straps on the trailer. Don't carry just enough equipment, carry a little bit extra for events like this, when some of your equipment gets damaged or it's faulty. That way you're not stuck out there on the road without enough securement equipment to be able to do your job properly. But back to the unload. Let's get the rest of this out of here. All right, guys, we're here at the final consignee. We're getting unloaded right now. As you can see, moving that stuff off of there. You want to make sure that you're standing well away from the load as it's getting put on or taken off of your trailer, because you can definitely have your life changed in a split second if you're not careful out here. No matter how many times you've done something, always be extremely careful. So I'm well out of the way of that, but we're here getting all that unloaded. Everything went well, minus a few of the straps getting punctured. I went through all the straps that were on the load, and there were only 2 of them that I would say are completely unusable. So I'll definitely be looking out the next time I go to a terminal to swap out pretty much all of those straps that had punctures in them from this load. You know, the straps are okay with small punctures. Well, they're usable with small punctures. I don't want to have them, but that's all I got for now. That's why I say you always want to keep more than enough straps, at least, just in case you have loads like this where it's unavoidable, you know, them getting damaged a little bit. But we've got more than enough to be able to keep going for a long while before we have to replace those. And it's taking a little bit longer to get unloaded here, just because they got their pile of fencing over there, and they had to move their a bit around so that they could have space for the stuff that I brought. But that's all right. I already got a new dispatch. It's about a 2-hour drive from where I currently am. Well, which is kind of to be expected, just because it's a little bit after noon, and when you get empty after 12 p.m., it's pretty likely that the majority, well, yeah, close to the majority of the loads are already shipped out to other drivers. So sometimes you have to drive a little bit farther to go get something. You know, I've had at the longest like a 3-hour drive, maybe close to 4-hour drive one time to pick something up. But that one time, I give it an excuse because it paid pretty well for that specific one. But I'd like to drive no more than 2 hours for a bounce if I could help it. I mean, you get bounce pay, but you have to drive 150 miles with TMC before you get qualified for bounce pay. I've had loads that were 149 miles bounce. Yeah, 149 miles when you need 150 to get paid for it, but whatever. But we're gonna go ahead and get the rest of this unloaded. It's pretty much all there is to it with hauling wire mesh, guys. I didn't have this load shift on me, not one bit. The load didn't move. My issue with this one was the punctures on the straps. But like I said, right now, as far as I know, there's not really anything you can do about it other than, you know, the edge protectors that I used at the top for the sides. I don't think there's really anything you can do to protect your straps. Nothing that I know of yet. But I'm gonna go ahead and close the video out here, guys. Make sure you're always careful with this wire mesh, like I said a couple times already, but I can't stress it enough, because either with it shifting or tearing your straps, you know, you want to be very, very careful and make sure that you don't have this load come off the trailer on you. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I need to get something to eat before I head out on this 2-hour drive. Appreciate you all watching, commenting. Make sure you're hitting that like button and subscribing if you're watching my videos. And if you like the content, let me know. But until next time, Here What I Trucker out.